Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily English Talk Podcast. I'm Anna.
And I'm David. Thanks for joining us again. Today's session is one I think a lot of our listeners have probably been waiting for.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're tackling that challenge of sounding, more natural when speaking English. It's interesting, isn't it? You can have really solid grammar, tons of vocabulary, but somehow your spoken English might still feel a bit stiff.
It's a real hurdle. It really is. It's kind of like knowing all the ingredients for a cake. Right?
Yeah.
But then actually baking one that tastes amazing and feels, authentic, made with care.
Exactly. That's a great analogy. So today, we're not just looking at the recipe, the grammar rules, the words, but the actual techniques, the things that give your spoken English that authentic flavor.
The goal here is really practical stuff. Real-world tips to help you speak more smoothly, maybe more confidently, and just, more genuinely yourself in English.
We're going to dig into what natural speaking actually means, first off.
Good starting point.
Then look at some common stumbling blocks, things people often do, and then, arm you with some actionable techniques you can, start using straight away.
And we'll touch on why this stuff matters too, the subtle ways it really impacts how you connect with people.
Think of this as maybe a way to bridge that gap between, understanding English and really living it when you speak. So let's jump in. What does it actually mean to sound natural?
Yeah, because I think a lot of learners immediately think, I need a perfect native accent, like American or British.
And that's such a common misconception, isn't it?
Totally.
Sounding natural isn't really about wiping out your own accent or perfectly mimicking someone else's. It's much more about expressing yourself authentically in a way that just feels fluid and, comfortable for you and the person listening.
Precisely. You've probably met someone, right, whose English grammar wasn't textbook perfect.
Oh, definitely.
But they communicated so well with such ease and confidence. You just thought, wow, they sound great.
Yeah, it really shows it's not just the words, it's how they're delivered. It's the rhythm, the intonation, the pacing, all those little signals that make speech feel alive.
And a really key part of that is connected speech, how sounds link together. Native speakers hardly ever say each word completely separately.
Right. It's a flow.
It's a flow, going to becomes gonna, or want to becomes wanna. It's those little connections and sometimes dropped sounds.
Absolutely. And then there's intonation, which you mentioned, the sort of melody of your voice, how your pitch goes up and down. It signals questions, it emphasizes things, it shows how you feel. A flat tone, even with perfect words, can just sound, flat, monotone.
Yeah, robotic even. And let's not forget just the feeling of ease. Natural speech doesn't sound forced or like you're really straining. It has a kind of relaxed quality, like you're just chatting.
It's true. When you're learning, you often focus so hard on being deliberate, saying every sound perfectly, which is understandable. But it can sometimes lead to that slightly robotic delivery. The aim is to move past that and get some natural rhythm happening.
So just to sum up that bit, sounding natural isn't about sounding like a specific native speaker. It's finding your voice in English and using it clearly, comfortably, and in an engaging way.
And the really good news here is that these things, the rhythm, the intonation, the connected speech, they aren't some magical talent you're born with.
Nope.
They're skills, things you can actually learn and develop with, conscious practice.
Exactly. So if you feel like your spoken English isn't quite where you want it yet, don't get discouraged. That's what we're here for, to give you those practical steps.
Okay, perfect. So now we have a better idea of what natural actually sounds like. Let's maybe dive into some of those common habits or pitfalls, things that can make even pretty advanced learners sound a bit unnatural sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's worth saying, everyone does these things at some point.
Oh, for sure.
It's totally part of the learning curve. No judgment here.
Exactly. We're not pointing fingers, just offering some insights to help, refine things. So what are some of the big ones? What trips people up?
Okay, let's start with maybe the most obvious one. Speaking too slowly, too deliberately, focusing on perfect pronunciation of every single word in isolation.
Oh yeah, that kind of hesitant delivery.
Yeah.
Where every syllable gets the same weight. I am going to the shop now.
Right. And the intention is usually good, right? You want to be clear, you want to be accurate, but the result can actually sound quite unnatural. And ironically, it can sometimes make it harder for the listener to catch the flow, the meaning, It breaks the rhythm.
So instead of aiming for that super slow, perfect enunciation, it's better to try and keep a more natural pace going, a bit more flow. Even if you trip over a word here and there, native speakers do it all the time.
All the time. Okay, mistake number 2. Relying too much on like really formal or textbook language in just everyday chats.
Yes. Where you might hear someone say something like, I wish to ascertain the time of the meeting, instead of just, hey, what time's the meeting? Or, can you tell me when the meeting is?
Exactly. Or, I would like to inquire about the possibility of.
Yeah.
Instead of just, can I ask about... Formal language definitely has its place, but in casual conversation, it just sounds, well, stiff.
Yeah.
Maybe even a bit pretentious sometimes.
So the tip there is embrace contractions. We'll talk more about them, but, I am becomes I'm, cannot becomes can't. And maybe opt for simpler words and sentence structures that you hear more often in spoken English.
Good one. Okay, number 3. Speaking with a flat, monotonous tone, like we mentioned earlier.
And this really sucks the life out of speech, doesn't it?
It does. Imagine someone saying, my name is Dave. I like dogs. The sky is blue. All on one note.
Yeah. You get the information technically, but there's no personality, no engagement. It's hard to connect with or even understand the nuances, the emotion behind it.
So you've got to consciously work on that intonation. Let your voice go up for questions, vary the pitch to stress important words, show you're interested or happy, or whatever it is. You're not a robot.
Let your voice show it. Okay, number 4.
Misplacing stress. Putting the emphasis on the wrong word or the wrong syllable within a word.
This is subtle but so important.
It really is. Where you put the emphasis can completely change the meaning or just sound odd to a native ear. Like stressing I like pizza versus I like pizza. Different meanings.
Or even within a word, like saying photographer instead of photographer.
Exactly. English has its own sort of music, its own rhythm, and certain words just naturally get more emphasis. Getting that wrong can sometimes even cause confusion.
And this is where really listening to native speakers and maybe trying to imitate them helps a lot. Pay attention not just to what they say, but how they say it, which words pop out.
Imitation is key there. Okay, and the last one, number 5. Directly translating idioms or sentence structures straight from your first language.
Oh, this is a classic. So common.
Yeah, because what sounds totally normal and natural in, say, Spanish or Japanese might sound really weird or even make no sense at all if you just translate it word for word into English.
Yeah, like an idiom about, I don't know, cats and dogs in your language might not work at all in English, even if you translate the words.
Right. English just has its own ways of saying things, its own common expressions.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to force that direct translation, the goal is to try and think in English more. Learn the common English ways to express those ideas.
Aim for the natural English equivalent, not the literal awkward translation.
Exactly.
Okay, let's just quickly recap those 5 common mistakes then.
Good idea.
1. Speaking too slowly and carefully, word by word.
2. Using language that's too formal or stiff for the situation.
3. Speaking with a flat or monotonous tone, no musicality.
4. Putting the stress on the wrong words or syllables.
And 5. Directly translating phrases or idioms from your native language.
Right. And if you kind of recognize yourself doing any of those, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Awareness is genuinely the first step. And now we're going to move on to the really practical stuff, the techniques you can actually use to work on these things.
Exactly. Concrete strategies you can start using like today to make a difference in how you sound.
Okay, technique number 1. And this is maybe one of the easiest wins. Consistently use contractions in your spoken English.
Yes. It seems small, but it has such a big impact on sounding natural, doesn't it?
Huge. Native speakers use them all the time in conversation. It's almost automatic.
You just don't really say I am hungry when you're chatting. You say I'm hungry. Or do not becomes don't, it is becomes is.
Yeah. It just makes everything flow better, smoother, more informal, more natural. It's one of those little signals that instantly makes you sound less like you're reading from a textbook.
Should we try a couple? Like I say the full form, you say the contraction.
Let's do it.
Okay. He is not here.
He isn't here.
He's not here.
Right. They will arrive soon.
They'll arrive soon. See? It just sounds, more fluid. It's a really simple habit to get into.
Definitely. Okay, technique number 2. Pay close attention to and actively practice intonation.
The music of English, as we said, how your voice rises and falls.
Exactly. It carries so much meaning. Think about a simple yes-no question. your pitch usually goes up at the end, right? Are you okay?
Yeah, versus a statement where it usually falls, I am okay.
Right. So a great way to practice this is listening. Find a short clip of a native speaker, listen to a sentence, and then try to mimic that melody, the ups and downs.
Yeah, copy the tune. Even if you exaggerate it a bit at first, it helps train your ear and your voice to make those patterns.
Okay, technique number 3. Start using filler words, naturally though.
Right, this one needs a little caution sign. Don't overdo it.
Definitely don't overdo it, but words like, well, I mean, they're a normal part of conversation.
They serve a purpose, don't they? They can give you a split second to think.
Exactly. Or they can soften things, make your speech sound less blunt or abrupt, more conversational.
Like, instead of just saying no, you might say, well, actually, I don't think so. It just sounds a bit gentler, more natural in dialogue.
Yeah, but again, the key is moderation. And listen to how native speakers use them. Don't just sprinkle like everywhere randomly. Let them come out when you genuinely need a moment or want to connect an idea.
Good point. Okay, number 4, chunking your speech.
Ah, yes. Grouping words together.
Instead of speaking word by word.
By word.
Right, which is what beginners often do. It sounds very choppy. Native speakers tend to talk in chunks, groups of words that form a natural thought or phrase.
So instead of saying, I want to go to the park, try thinking of it and saying it like, I want to go to the park.
Much better flow. Let's try another. You say it word by word.
Okay. She is going to the movies tonight.
Okay, and chunked. She's going to the movies tonight.
Yeah, you can hear the difference immediately. It's about finding those natural groups of words that belong together. And finally, technique number 5. This one's super powerful, I think. Shadowing.
Shadowing. Explain that one.
Okay, so shadowing is basically listening to a native speaker. Maybe from a recording, a podcast, a video. And you repeat what they say exactly as they say it, either at the same time or right after them.
So you're not just copying the words.
No, you're copying everything. The pronunciation, the intonation, the rhythm, the pauses, the whole package.
How do you do it practically?
Find short clips, like really short to start, a sentence or two from maybe an interview or a TV show snippet. Listen once or twice, then play it again and try to speak along with it, matching them as closely as you can.
It probably feels a bit weird at first.
It can do. But it's incredibly effective for training your mouth and your ears to work together, to really internalize the sound and flow of natural English.
Okay, cool. So let's quickly list those 5 techniques again.
1, use contractions all the time.
2, practice intonation. Copy the music.
3, use filler words, but naturally and in moderation.
4, chunk your speech into meaningful phrases.
And 5, practice shadowing native speakers.
Got it. And remember, these are skills, right? They take practice. You won't master them overnight.
Absolutely not. Consistent effort is the key. And just being willing to try them out, even if it feels a bit strange initially.
Yeah, don't wait until you feel perfect or ready. Just start incorporating little bits. Even small changes add up.
Definitely. Okay, so up next, we're going to talk about some really practical ways you can actually build these techniques into your daily life, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
Great. Stay with us.
All right, so we've got the techniques. Now the big question, how do you actually practice this stuff? How do you make it part of your routine?
Yeah, because knowing what to do is great, but doing it consistently, that's where the real progress happens, right? Especially for sounding more natural.
Exactly. And the good news is there are lots of things you can do wherever you are, even if you don't have native speakers around to talk to all the time.
Okay, tip number 1.
Talk to yourself in English regularly.
Okay, might sound a bit odd to some people, but it works.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's brilliant practice with zero pressure. Nobody's listening. Nobody's judging. Just like narrate what you're doing or think out loud in English.
Yeah, like when you're making coffee. Okay, getting the mug. Need some milk. Maybe I'll have toast, too. It doesn't have to be complex sentences or perfect grammar.
Not at all. The goal is just getting comfortable forming thoughts in English, getting the words out, just practicing the flow.
And if talking out loud feels too weird, you can just do it in your head, right? Like think through your shopping list in English or plan your day mentally in English.
Yep. Anything to get your brain working in English mode more often. Okay, next tip. Record yourself speaking.
The dreaded recording.
Yeah, nobody loves hearing their own voice initially, but honestly, it's so valuable. It gives you objective feedback on how you actually sound.
It's true. You might notice things you're completely unaware of otherwise, like maybe you do speak in a monotone sometimes, or you hesitate more than you thought, or your intonation is a bit off on questions.
Exactly. Just
Okay.
grab your phone, record yourself for like a minute or two, talk about anything your day, a movie you watch, whatever, then listen back. Critically, but kindly.
Don't aim for perfection, just listen for patterns. Okay, tip 3.
Actively consume English media you actually enjoy. So, movies, TV shows, podcasts like this one, YouTube.
But the key word there is actively, right? Not just having it on in the background.
Exactly. Don't just passively absorb it. Engage with it. Use subtitles if you need them, especially at first. But then, pick short bits, pause. Repeat sentences aloud. Try shadowing the speakers like we talked about.
Really focus on their rhythm, their intonation, how they connect words.
Yeah, even just 10 or 15 minutes a day of that kind of active listening and imitation can make a huge difference to your ear and your own speaking.
Good one. Tip number 4.
Use language learning apps, especially ones with speaking practice features.
Right, there are loads now that offer this.
Yeah, many apps let you record yourself saying a phrase and then compare it to a native speaker's version. Some even use like AI to give you feedback on pronunciation or intonation.
There are apps specifically for pronunciation, like Elsa Speak, and others that connect you with language partners for voice messages or calls, like Hello Talk or Tandem.
Even just using the recording features on Duolingo or Babbel can be helpful for hearing yourself and practicing those sounds. It builds confidence too.
Definitely. Okay, and a final tip.
If you feel up for it, find ways to actually speak with other people, even online.
Yeah, take the plunge.
It's the ultimate practice, right? There are tons of online language exchange communities, virtual conversation groups, Discord servers, places you can find other learners or native speakers to chat with.
Don't worry about making mistakes. Everyone does. It's how you learn. Seriously. Just putting yourself out there is huge. Look for online forums, maybe social media groups for English learners, maybe even consider an online conversation class. If that feels more structured, the more you actually use the language, the more natural it will start to feel.
So the main message here is you really don't need to be living in London or New York to make big improvements in sounding natural.
Not at all. These daily habits, self-talk, recording, active listening, using apps, finding online partners, they can all make a massive difference wherever you are.
It's about being proactive, making that conscious effort to engage with the sound and flow of English, not just the grammar rules.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so in our last little segment, let's just touch on mindset, because that plays a huge role too. Staying confident and motivated.
Yeah, because it's not always easy. It can feel awkward sometimes trying these new things. Let's talk about how to stay positive. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Techniques, practice ideas. But maybe the foundation underneath all of this is mindset. Your attitude towards learning and speaking. Absolutely, because you can know all the tricks, right? But if you're feeling really self-conscious or lack confidence, it's hard to actually use them. You might just freeze up or hesitate too much.
And that feeling is totally normal. Let's just put that out there. Everyone learning a language go through phases of feeling stuck or awkward or worried about mistakes or their accent.
Oh yeah, it's universal.
But the key thing to remember is, even the most fluent speakers started somewhere. And fluency isn't really about being 100% perfect all the time. It's about communicating effectively, getting your message across.
Exactly. So maybe try shifting the goal. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for clarity, aim for expressing yourself. And try to see mistakes not as failures, but as, data, opportunities to learn something.
Yeah, embrace them. And remember that confidence isn't something you just wait to magically appear. You actually build it by doing the thing, by speaking. Even when it feels a bit scary or awkward at first, the more you do it, the more that confidence grows naturally.
And be kind to yourself in the process. Acknowledge the effort you're putting in. Celebrate the small wins, like using a contraction naturally, or noticing your intonation improved on a recording. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely. And maybe remind yourself why you're doing this. What are the benefits of improving your English? Connecting with people, accessing information, travel, job opportunities. Focusing on those positives can really help keep you motivated.
Okay, great advice. So as we start to wrap things up for today, let's do a quick recap of the main points.
Sounds good.
We talked about what sounding natural really means. It's more about clarity, flow, expressing yourself authentically, less about having a specific native accent.
We looked at those common pitfalls. Speaking too slowly, being too formal, having a flat tone, messing up word stress, and translating directly from your own language.
And then we gave you those 5 practical techniques. Use contractions.
Practice intonation.
Use filler words naturally.
Chunk your speech into phrases.
And practice shadowing.
We also share those everyday practice tips. Talking to yourself.
Recording yourself.
Using media actively.
Trying out language apps.
And finding chances to speak with others, even online.
And finally, we just touched on that crucial mindset piece, being kind to yourself, embracing mistakes as learning tools, and building confidence through practice.
Right. So the challenge for you, the listener, for today.
Your homework.
Yeah, your homework. Just choose one thing, one technique we talked about. Maybe it's consciously using don't. It's when you talk to yourself later. Or maybe find a 30-second video clip and try shadowing it just once or twice.
Just one small, manageable step.
Exactly. Even that little bit of focused effort starts building the habit and can make a difference over time. And hey, if you found this discussion useful,
please do consider following the show, or maybe leave us a review if you can. It really helps other learners find us.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that. And we'd love to hear which technique you decide to try first. Maybe let us know.
Okay, that's about it for this session. Keep practicing, keep speaking.
And remember, sounding natural in English is ultimately about sounding like you. Just you in English.
Authentically. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode of Daily English Talk Podcast.
Until next time, bye now.